hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Lume
Plotters.
Thank
you. Thank you for letting me contribute. So, today we have a very special episode. It will be about limited editions, everyone's favorite type of watch. So we'll talk about the pros and cons and why limited editions are good and why they're absolutely terrible shortly. But first, cursory wristwatch checks. So,
you go first because mine is actually a limited edition, so I'm talking about it.
So that's actually funny that you mentioned this because mine, I had I wouldn't say limited edition, but a limited version that was only available in Europe. And then I sold it to get the original back. And this is my SBGM 231. So I had the SBGM 237, 239, something like this, which was the Europe only edition with the linen dial. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to sell it. And I had no interest in rebuying this watch.
Okay.
I was going to sell it. And then at the very last minute, it was on TP auctions. The very last minute, it was not selling, no bids. And I said, you know what? I want to keep it. I don't want to sell it. And then at the last second, a bid came in and I obviously was obligated to let it go, which really pissed me off, but it pissed me off kind of too late. So, that's where I am.
Yeah, you know, what can you do? Sometimes it is what it is. And you have fixed the situation. So there you go.
So now I've rectified it. I bought this 231 back. So there we are.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So you're waiting for me?
Yes. Now it's your turn.
So I have bought yesterday. It's relatively fresh from the press, basically. A watch that was released in 2021, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It is this one here. It is a Norqain.
Did you just buy this because you knew we were going to see the Norqain guys next week at Watch Week?
No, but when I see Tobias Küffer and Ben Küffer maybe as well, I definitely have something to show. And this is the Norqain Independence 21 with a blue cracked dial. So it has
it's broken. You have to return it immediately.
Yes, it's scratched dial. It's actually on purpose. It's a limited edition to 200 pieces, and it has the Kinesi or Tudor movement in it. Right, so it's a chronometer spec watch with 70 hours of power reserve. It has this blue dial with a couple of red accents, the red chronometer on it. And I think it's 42, I'm not 100% sure. It wears really nice on the wrist. I really enjoy it on my wrist, so it looks good. And
yeah, it does.
Yeah. And of course, this was, it was fun. Sometimes Siddiqui does this sort of an event when they invite their VIPs and get some older stock off. It's like a warehouse sale. It's a very private one, so it's not a very public event. So, a friend of mine got invited, showed me a couple of, said like, hey, there's a couple of these kind of watches available. Do you want one? And it was a pretty good discount. So I decided to.
Well, how good of a discount? 10%? 10%, you say?
No. Let's
Ralph
not talk
won't
about
disclose.
this.
He's nodding his head no.
No, we're not talking about this because this is not good for brands if you're talking about discounts and all of the stuff, right?
I will tell the Norqain boys.
No. And so basically I also bought just one day before, I bought another watch, which was also a Norqain.
It was also Norqain?
Yeah, I bought this one. It's also a limited edition. It's the Hakuna Mipaka with Dean Schneider, right? The guy who does these animal sanctuaries in South Africa, non-profit stuff. And this is a black leopard version. So it has this black paw prints of leopards on the dial and also on the velour strap, which I don't have on the watch. I have a leather strap on it, but it comes in a black velour covered strap that also
So it
has the
looks
black.
like
It is really cool. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Like
I think,
fur?
yeah, it is. It like fur, but with the paw prints as well, and of course the logo from Hakuna Mipaka. And it's a really cool watch. It's black DLC coated. It's 40 millimeters, so smaller than the other one. It was actually conceptualized as a women's watch, but with 40 millimeters. You can see this.
So now you go and talk to Tobias Kufer and you say, look at all my watches that I have.
Yes,
Is that
exactly.
right?
So like, look, I have so many Norcanes now.
Since we last spoke 2 years ago, I've been collecting nothing but Norcanes.
These are my second and my third Norcane, right?
there you
Because
go.
one I had to sell again in between. But yeah, I'm really happy with this because now I have a watch for my Africa travels, which has, something really African with it. And of course I have an everyday travel watch, let's say for this one with a Tudor movement. And yeah, I got it for a price where I couldn't say no. So I just jumped on it. Again, this is old stock, basically. These are all out of production for a while now, for I think even years. So that's why they were sold with quite a good discount. So, yeah, so these are the two. And one is limited without saying that it is how many pieces. And the other one says on the back, I don't know if you can see this here, probably not because this is bloody, it's not a quick release one. So it says here on the back, 1 of 200.
Okay, so both are limited to 200.
No, the other one is limited, but it doesn't say how many.
Okay. So similar to the my SBGW, whatever the hell, 279, I think it was 279. That one also was not technically limited,
Right.
but it was geographically limited. You could only buy it in Europe.
Yeah.
And mine came out of Spain, I think.
These are also just interesting limitations, right? I mean, now in the way of in the time of connected supply chains, and you can buy basically everything everywhere online somewhere, and you have special dealers, especially for Japan and other places where you can get Japanese domestic market stuff pretty easily outside of Japan, of course, for a little premium, but it is possible. So that's one of the limitations,
this
right?
gets us to this idea of limited editions, because there's such ridiculous stuff around these limited editions. Some are actually limited, some are absolutely not limited. Let's talk about the new Seiko Jean Krantz limited edition, limited to 9,999. And there's 2 different colors. So that's a limited edition of 20,000
Oh,
pieces.
it's 9,000 for each color.
For each color.
Whoa.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I might be mistaken. It might be 5,000 per color and 999 total, but I'm assuming it's not, because each one says of 9,999 on the back.
Okay.
And this is, is it necessary? Absolutely not. And this is kind of the issues that we often are faced with when it comes to limited editions. Like, okay, geographical limitations. Like Grand Seiko loves this.
Yeah.
Here's a limited watch that you can only buy in North America. Here's something that's only Japan exclusive. So forth and so forth, right? And the thing is, my philosophy is significantly different. I know all these hype boys that always want to get these limited editions, and they have to have their limited editions. I've had so many limited editions come through my hands, and I've sold every single one of them, and not one has stayed behind. And what do I actually keep? I generally end up with the original version that the limited edition was based on. And I do have this big mentality of, if it's any good, they would have made it not limited.
Yes and no. So I think there's 2 things to it. You're absolutely right. There's a point, and I think they have something that actually fits there, and it's another Norcane story from a friend of mine who bought the Enjoy Life version. I don't know. Let me try to find this here from Norcane. It's a watch that has this the ice cream cone on the date wheel, right? Remember that one? I don't know if that was. It's a bit like
I don't.
Yeah. I think I can show it to you if you share. Let me share my
I
screen.
did.
Ah, you did? Okay. There it is. So I can share that screen, and then you should be able to see it here. Let me make it a bit bigger. Oops. Here. So you see that watch? It's a chronograph.
Yes. Yeah, I see it.
With
I remember this one.
Nice pastel colors. So it is nice light baby blue. It is a pistachio and it's a pink. And it has on the date wheel here this little ice cream cone. So it's an Enjoy Life special edition, 40 millimeters, really nice chrono. I think the movement is, if somebody knows, it's a Celita based one, 510A. So it is really cool, and it was sold as super high demand watch here. It says, due to incredibly high demand, this timepiece is currently out of stock. Pre-orders yours to ensure blah, blah, blah. Right?
Okay.
So in the beginning, people were told, not in writing, and not really said it's limited, but it's a very hard to get watch, and it will not be a watch that is widely available. Now, a friend of mine then bought that watch, and then it's turned out to be not limited at all. It's just very high in demand. So he was a bit disappointed by it, right? Is this something where you feel, is this now, I mean, he was very disappointed by it, and I actually...
This is the same with the Tudor.
I made the contact with Toby and said, hey, he just bought he's a die-hard Rolex fan, and he bought his first Norcane watch, and Toby actually recorded a small video greeting and welcomed him in the Norcane family. But he was still a bit angry then afterwards when it became just a watch that is available without being limited as such. So what do you think about it? Is this
once again? It's the same as the Tudor when the pink came out.
Yeah.
The pink dial chrono.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, "Oh, it's so hard to get." And then it's still hard to get. But then they said it's no longer limited. It's gonna be full public run, right?
Yeah. And they said in the beginning, only very, very few of them will be produced.
Yeah.
Very small.
And
production.
this is not the first time, right? So I told a story a while back.
You did.
That Ben Clymer from Hodinkee had a piece unique made by I don't remember if it was Laurent Ferrier or whoever it was, but essentially he designed, maybe it was something. I don't know what it was, but it was a piece unique that was made for him. And he said, could you make me, I think it was a titanium case, and it was a company that had never worked with titanium before. And they said, sure, we could get it done, blah, 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 gray dial, Hodinkee gray, and made a one of one, right? And he was very pleased with his watch. And then, like a year later, they made a full run-of-the-mill catalog watch that was exactly the same watch.
Yeah.
And he said, like, I'm glad that they like my design, but this now fully devalues my one of one.
I want my money back.
He didn't say his one. He said, I still love my watch, but he said it definitely did not leave me feeling very good about this because I designed this watch. They didn't design it. And then they ended up stealing, for all intents and purposes, the design.
Yeah, unless it's in the terms and condition in a very small print that is saying, like, if you do a one-of-one and we really like it a lot and we make it a serious production, then, well, that's it. You are giving us the rights to it.
Maybe. I don't know how much paperwork there is for creating a one-of-one.
In the end,
I don't think there's any.
Yeah, I don't know either. But the thing is that when you make some kind of contract, because you're about to pay for it either in advance or later on, right? You still have, do you own any of the intellectual property of a watch that they produce? Maybe. I mean,
probably not.
Maybe not. I don't know what the deal is there. An interesting question we should ask Jörg Heisek. right? Because he is a watch designer and he obviously does that for a living. But coming back to these limited editions that are turning out not limited, they have never actually been said to be limited, right? So that's one of the, which is implied sometimes. That is a very limited run or limited edition. And then, the brands have the leeway to say, well, it sells so well, so we're just producing it as long as we want. I think Tudor is a serial offender with that, right? Like the Harrods. How often is the Tudor Black Bay Harrods edition being rumored for this is the last year they make it? It was like, okay, they make it for 5 years, but then they made it for 6 years. Oh, maybe they stop at 5,000. And then they made 10,000. And then they stopped by 10,000.
Yeah.
And no, they didn't stop at 10,000. Now they're still selling it.
So there's been a number of things like this, right? For instance, I know for a fact that there was the, which Ferrari was it, the Enzo?
F40? No, was it?
No, I think it was the Enzo.
Oh, the Enzo, yeah.
That
Enzo
they said that there were only going to be 400 or something like this. And then they ended up making 500 of them. Lamborghini did the same thing. They were supposed to be, remember the Reventon, which was like a weird special edition. They were supposed to make 20. They ended up 15, and they made 20 of them. And they said it was a production number error. They miscounted. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I can count to 15 pretty easily. Like,
nah, I
understand 400 versus 500, but.
See, this is when brands have to just own it and saying, yeah, well, we just made 5 extra. Sorry.
Yeah, but like at least, people were pissed about the 100 extra Ferraris though.
Yeah, but I think in general we can say, as you just mentioned, the watches before, I didn't comment on this, the 9,999 watches. If that's a limited edition to 9,000 or 10,000 watches, basically, it's not limited. We had this,
yes,
where people basically say everything that is 1,000 pieces or more is not actually limited.
So now the question is, how many would have Seiko made of this to begin with? Because the thing is, we don't know these numbers, right? But maybe Seiko is only making 7,000 regular watches, period. So if they put 9,999, they've covered their own ass and there's no problem with it, right? But yes, there's nothing limited about it. And it was funny because I was in the store.
Yeah.
And I saw the 2 watches and I told the guy, yeah, I made a joke. And I said, yeah, limited to 10,000. And then the guy was like, no, sir, it is 9,999. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, you say this with a serious face. He did not find it funny. But
no. I can imagine that. But this is when you have to think about it. I had a couple of Seiko limited editions, limited to 5,000 pieces, or even to 2,000 pieces. Like some of the Grand Seikos, 2,000 pieces, or 9,000. It was like the year, right, when they came out with a anniversary for the quartz watch or the 9F movement and something, and it was 1965, whatever. I don't care, right? Something below 2,000 pieces. For a brand like Grand Seiko, who only produces less than 10,000 watches a year,
that's a whole heap of watches.
A lot of watches, yeah. It's not really limited. I mean, it might be limited for 3-4 years, but you will get this watch for 3-4 years unless they have a really, really high demand on the specific piece. But that's where the point comes in. When is limited really limited? So I asked.
You ask.
Yeah, I asked the pros and cons to my co-pilot from Microsoft, to saying like, what does AI think are the pros and cons of a limited edition? And maybe we can take this to angle around, because actually it's quite interesting what it says there. Let's go with the negative first. Why is a limited edition bad? Right? What is the con with a limited edition? So one is the price. Most likely it is more expensive. Yeah. It's a premium over the ones that are not limited. Either it's a premium that means it's being sold at full price without discount. So who likes limited editions?
No one.
The retailer. The retailer. Because the retailer has a reason to basically not give you a discount that he might
which
have
even
to
for the Seikos, they're doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I asked the guy, what discount can we have on this 1,000 dirham Seiko? And the guy's like, sorry, sir, it is limited.
not allowed for the limited edition. And you think, yeah, right. So that's retailer like it. And of course, it is a premium towards the normal. But sometimes it's actually a higher price just from a list
to begin
price
with.
already.
Yeah, of course.
Then is this artificial scarcity when they're saying, okay, some brands always create limited editions. I mean, look, I think one of the, also again, serial offenders is Panerai.
Omega.
Omega, because they have a lot of them, but Panerai is basically everything is a limited edition. Because they say on the back of it, one of 1,000 or so. Until they're sold, and if they're sold quite quickly, then you will have a new reference number with the same design, and they sell another 1,000. Sometimes they do the same, just with a new reference number without changing anything, and sell you another 1,000. So it's basically just a year's, like a serial number back in the days when we had from Rolex, when you could see F serial was 1 year and then a G series was another year.
It's a one of one with that serial number. Exactly.
It's a limited F serial number watch. But so that's, I think we have brands who do too many. Omega, as you rightly say, is another one who has limited editions for a golf tournament, for the Olympics, for whatever, for everything, right? Always limited editions.
Yeah.
Who is not making limited editions much?
Let's talk. Well, obviously, one that has not made any limited editions would be Rolex.
Yes, but
they don't number anything. Actually, let's go to this. The only watch that has ever been numbered. So numbered would mean that it's not limited because we don't know the maximum number, but you do know your watch's number.
Right.
The only watch that has been numbered in the entire Rolex family, that includes Tudor, of course, is the Pelagos left-hand drive. That is the only one that has ever been a numbered edition. I don't know what they're at now. It's something ridiculous, right? But
and the Black Bay Harrods.
That's not limited because it's numbered, right? But the first one to ever be numbered was the Pelagos left-hand drive, and they made a big deal about that. Either. It's not limited. They say numbered.
Numbered, yep.
So, and the same with Harrods is you can still buy one to this day, and you can buy one tomorrow, and who knows? At some point they're going to discontinue it, then they'll come out with a new Harrods, and they'll go forth.
There is a new Harrods which is limited to 275 pieces, which is a Black Bay 58 with a Harrods design, but that is very exclusive, so it's not easy.
Let me. You're right, because now that I'm thinking about it, they also made the Tudor FXD cycling, the Giro edition, and the Tour de France edition. Both of those were, I think, limited to 150 or something like this as well. So those are limited.
And then we have the Marine Nationale, right? The one that is actually yearly. It has a year basically engraved on it.
And that's strange, right? Because this is great because it has the year on the case back. So people with, a kid born in 2023, they're going to go for the 2023. And this gives a little bit more of a push for you're looking for a specific one. However, does it really mean anything? No, because we have no idea how many they made.
Yes, exactly. I think it's very interesting to see that because we really have no idea, So that's one of the other cons is that it's basically a pressure to buy quickly and really playing on your FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? So it's then like, oh my God, I need to rush my decision because if you don't decide now, then it's gone. Like when people tell you, retailers tell you, I have only seen one of these watches so far and this has been a week. It's been a year and, we maybe get one or two a year. It's really hard to get. And all of these FOMO things, right? But I have one here for you right now, right? So if you want Yeah, so this is the FOMO and
It's
playing on
strange.
this. Then
This is what it goes out, right? And then the thing is, you really don't know whether it's going to go up in value or not. Like if you know, obviously, the limited editions that I've gone for in the past were all Hodinkee limited editions. That's kind of, you know, my bread and butter. And if we look at them, I still have an eBay search result. I have a Chrono 24 search alert on Hodinkee to see if what comes out.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few that just don't perform, right? So, for instance, watches that have lost
you mean
value.
perform as in on the secondary market?
No, sexually.
All right.
The watches can't get it up. They don't perform in the sense that we expect when you're caught up in this FOMO, you're going to buy a watch. Yeah. And then as soon as you buy it, you're like, oh, this is going to be worth so much soon. And once they all sell out. But then you look at the actual prices. Now it's been years since some of these are out. And it's very clear to see some that I thought were going to be misses actually came out to be hits. For an example of this that I had in my cart, and I was like, I should buy this, was the Speedmaster. It was the 10th edition or 10th anniversary for Hodinkee. They made a limited edition Speedmaster first Omega in Space version, right? 39 millimeter case, the 1861 movement, et cetera, et cetera. And it sold for $6,000. And now, if you look at how much these are going for, they're at least minimum $12,000. So they've doubled in value.
Some become so popular, right?
The other one was the IWC. They made an IWC Spitfire with no date, and this was Spitfire with the Ceratanium case, which Spitfires only came with the steel. So that one sold for like $5,000. And once again, you cannot find one for less than $11,000-$12,000. Insanely successful.
Yeah, and it's again, I think it's always the thing when you really see what a watch is worth on the secondary market, right? So the dealers or the brands always have an idea of how they price their watches, but what it's really worth, you will see on the
but
secondary
this is
market.
important for us because, of course, there has been no date IWC Spitfire, and then there has been no Spitfire in the 39 millimeter case in Ceratanium. So both of those were unique to them, and that's what drove this price up. But now imagine you're walking down the street and you fall and you bust your watch and that case breaks. There are no more cases. Like, that's it. Sorry, buddy. Like, they might make you one. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg and a kidney.
I don't think they make one, but they do actually have a few usually. And that's one of the questions we should ask some of these watch manufacturers who have a lot of limited editions as well, or very low production numbers, where we should ask them, so what's your percentage of watches that you put aside, or parts that you put aside for warranty claims and repairs? Because Patek generally claims we can service and repair any watch for at least 100 years, right? So there you go. For that's a guarantee, right? If you buy a Patek, you will be
But
getting
they're making
spare
stuff
parts.
as well. Once again, I'm pretty sure they're making stuff.
Yes, they don't talk about how much it will cost you to repair that watch within 100 years. But maybe they can, because they still have the blueprints. They can just reproduce, even if it's a one-off, a specific set of parts. And I have seen this in one of these factory visits. I think it was even IWC, where they go through and saying that this is for all the little boxes where the parts are in for older watches, where you just have a box. Maybe
So
with 50
this is really funny that you
50
mention
pieces
this.
in it, and then it's
Because this is it wasn't a Spitfire, it was a Mark 18.
Okay.
It was a Mark 18 case. But here it is. This is eBay right now. And how the hell this got here, we don't know. This is the dial. No date dial. Fits any Mark 18. It does not have to be Ceratanium, right? And it's selling for $1,000. It's been on here forever. Like, it was listed like 5 years ago, and it's still been here.
Let's hope it's real, right?
This is one. I mean, who's selling it? Let's start with that.
But the question is, for me,
Just a random person selling it.
for me, the question is, how does this dial actually appear? Because you cannot have changed your dial to a watch that has
This is my
a
question.
different one, because they all have date cutouts, right?
Yes. So where the hell did this come from? Did he go to IWC and did IWC throw this away and he got it from the dumpster out back?
Does this Hodinky have a ghost date? I mean, does it have a date disc and it just have a closed?
I'm assuming not.
Yeah, that would be very
That would be
watchmaking.
unhodinky, right? They would
Yes.
they would have taken away the ghost date.
So
I don't know, but then that would have been a whole different movement.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that guy just destroyed his watch by mistake or whatever, and it's just parts. I don't know. I mean, it sounds very weird to me, right?
It is, and I've been thinking about. I never messaged the guy, but I've been thinking about this. Where the hell did this come from?
Yeah.
And I mean, imagine if you're the one guy that needs one of these, and that's lucky for you. But
So yeah, and that is one of the biggest cons as well for the limited editions in general, that you have sometimes unique components that may make servicing and harder and more expensive in the long run if it's not based mostly on things that are in any case available. Sometimes limited editions are just basically taking the parts bin and combining it in a very specific way so that you have something unique. But sometimes it's really very unique things. Let's say a very unique color strap. Let's call it a rubber strap, for example, where even if you have put some in reserve as backups, they will not last 20 years, right?
yeah,
A rubber strap that lies around for 20 years will probably, I mean, I don't know for sure,
it
but
depends on how it's stored. But right, if you're
might
storing this in some
not work, yeah.
climatized place, it probably could be fine. But this, I wouldn't even be worried because straps we know are wear items, right? They will wear out. You replace them. It doesn't have to be original. The watch is more of my concern.
That is true for, let's say, the Martin watches, because they might be also more boring. But if you have
A very strange strap.
But yes, if you have, and nowadays we have a lot of watches that are where the strap is instrumental in making the watch special, right? Sometimes with a specific color or a specific design, as I just mentioned, my Norcane with this velour paw prints on it. That would be something which is not, you can't get it again, right? It's a rubber strap with the velour.
Yeah, but in these cases, if I have this if I was in this situation, I already do this, right? I don't wear any original straps. All of my original straps are brand new and they're sitting there in a box. The reason is I do know that this would be ridiculous to ever get again. So I don't want to wear through it. That might be my stupidity, right? But I'll just go and get I have a gigantic strap collection. I'll grab a strap from there. I wear that. If it wears out, I grab another one. Not the end of the world. And it's significantly simpler than having to get this.
But I think we are probably not the normal people, because you're not thinking, a normal person wouldn't even think about the value proposition of keeping everything pristine, right? So either then you would just put the watch into a safe right away. I mean, these are also, a lot of people do that with limited editions, right? I mean, how many Swatch collectors were there which actually never unpacked the Swatch watch, right? So because an original sealed watch that has never been worn is more expensive. So what they would do is they receive the watch, they take out the battery, and then they store it. Right, that's what you did with as a serious Swatch collector back in the days, because that's how you maintain the value of the watch. You have to remove the damage that a leaking battery can do, right? So that's it. The watch will be there, sitting around doing nothing. Nobody will wear it. It will look pristine the moment you sell it. But yeah, where's the fun in that, right? When people want to wear it. So
and this is quite funny. This takes me back. I think maybe 5 years ago, My daughter really liked Ferrari. Obviously, I'm assuming
I
it was
wonder
because
where
we
she
watched
got that
Formula
from, yeah.
One. Yeah. So she always liked Ferraris. And that was the first car brand that she knew was Ferrari. And so I said, oh, it'd be nice to get her some of those Hot Wheels cars, right? Well, I started looking for Hot Wheels cars. Turns out at the time, there were no Hot Wheels Ferraris. Now they've got them again, but apparently there was some big issue, and Hot Wheel or Ferrari removed their licensing from Hot Wheels.
Right.
And they just got it back like last year. So now,
Yeah.
because when we were kids, we had lots of Ferrari Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. But they
Matchbox,
had
yeah, I
since
remember Matchbox.
removed
It was a
the
bit
licensing.
bigger then.
So apparently, the last licensed Ferrari cars were in 1999, and now here we are in 2020 something, and there's none like you can buy. And then I was looking on eBay, and on eBay I found 5. Remember, these used to be 99 cents back in the day, right? I bought 5 of them, brand new in box, even with like the freaking Walmart sticker still on it that said 99 cents. And I paid something like $2 a piece. And they were like all from 1996, 1997. And I thought to myself, like, this person kept this for 25 years.
Yes.
Pristine, in the box. And they got a $1, and that's not even counting the percentage that that eBay takes out and PayPal takes out and everything, right? They made 50 cents a car. And then what happened? My daughter got it, ripped them open, and started playing with them. And now they're all bashed up and they're,
Yeah. So that's one of the things where limited is limited.
But these weren't necessarily limited. It's
They were not.
They just did not make them anymore, right?
Correct. So eventually a watch that is not been made is limited in offerings, right? Because if the watch is not even more made, it's basically, you could say it's now a limited one because there
Limited to
won't
the
be any
second-hand
new
market.
ones. Yeah, there won't
Yeah.
be any new ones of this specific model anymore. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes that can completely just not work out. So some people might have a Matchbox model that suddenly takes off because they only produced 200 because it was just not selling at the time.
Yeah.
And some were selling like hotcakes. So there's so many around that they are just not rare or just not in demand. They are not a Labubu. Labubus now also probably
Jesus Christ.
not anymore as hot as they used to be.
But did you not notice that these Labubus, like, I'm sorry, but if anybody went down the Labubu craze, like, did you guys not remember freaking Beanie Babies? It was Beanie Baby 2.0. Like,
of
everybody
course.
went nuts for a stupid plush toy that literally was worth less than the freaking cloth and the filling that was in it. I mean, I have nothing to say.
See, I have seen ladies walking around with them dangling from their handbags, and also so many men getting into that either because of their kids, but because of their
Or
wives,
because of their
because
sexual
themselves. Who knows? Do you mean wild, weird-haired animal with a freaking grin? I don't know.
I honestly, I have no idea. But at the end of the day, and any one of any brain cells could have seen that this is going to implode very, very soon.
But until isn't that like every hype thing? It's a business model of Supreme, right? And all of these things that it's limited. You have to queue for it. It's the
and I see
swatch.
the people that are standing in line and doing this time and time again. I actually made fun of this in my entrepreneurship class just the other day. And I said, do you remember when everybody was paying over retail for iPhone 17s,
Yes.
the 17 Pros? This was like a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And now go on Amazon, any color you want, orange you want it, it's there, any configuration, whatever, and it's less than retail price.
It's always scalpers from the beginning, because in the beginning you have demand restraints. No, not demand restraints. Yeah,
Production.
you have production restraints. If you want it now and you didn't pre-book it, then you have to pay a premium. This is like It's the rule.
But why do you need it now?
Right?
Unless your phone physically is broken, you do not need one now.
Of course, these are people who have more money than
Sense.
brains, maybe, or just they don't care because they just have the money and they're saying like, I want it now, get me one. And you're saying like, well, you can't have one. And saying, okay, how much do you want? So I will want to have it now.
Is this not the Hermes entire, mindset as well, right? You want it, you can't have it. Okay, I'll pay more. This has been the Rolex, the Hermes, the Birkin craze.
This is luxury. This is the uniqueness. This is the exclusivity and prestige. That's what they are prying on and that's also the benefit of it because it does have the exclusivity and prestige. If they do not sell to everybody, and if they do not sell to anything else, then
okay. Two things. This is what we call Veblen goods, right?
Correct.
Veblen goods are the ones that are going to be, despite the fact that they're luxury products, you still can't get them regardless of how much money you have. You have to either pay more or you have to go through a bunch of rabbit holes to get one and blah, blah, blah. Now, the thinking that I have when it comes to this is, I lost my train of thought. Hold on.
Veblen goods.
No, it was related to this. Oh yeah. This was said very, very nicely by Jeremy Clarkson back in Top Gear. Mm-hmm. He said, if you have a car and you have to explain what that car is, it is not cool. So essentially, if you're saying, in my case, right, I have the Ford Focus. That's what you have. You have a Ford Focus. Doesn't matter if it's an ST or an RS. You have a Ford Focus. So the car itself should be a standalone thing, right? So if you say you have a Golf R, no, you have a Volkswagen Golf. As soon as you start explaining, it is not cool.
But it is
right?
It is the R version. It has all-wheel drive and has 350 horsepower.
And how many times have you seen this? Especially, this is an ongoing joke in the Corvette community, right? It's like, mine is yellow, and there's only one of one because it has the cold weather package and these exact wheels with that interior color and this exterior color and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, you can, make a combination of anything you want and say it's one of one. Mm-hmm. Mine's one of one with 2013 Falcon tires on it.
Yeah, but
right?
then
I guarantee you nobody else is running those.
Then you go into, wait a second, then you go into the watch world, and there it's like, oh, this is a dial, and this dial and hand combination was only made for 2,000 pieces, and this is a specifically cracked
and this is what I'm saying
Lume and blah, 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 blah.
How many times have we tried to explain a watch that was inherently uncool, that was a limited edition of an uncool watch, and we try to pretend that it was cool because it was limited? If it's a watch you don't like, and I've gone through this rabbit hole a bunch of times as well, but for instance, I know the G-Shock, the 6900s do not wear well on me, yet I've bought the Hodinkee ones 6 times over, right?
Yeah, because maybe this time is different.
It's Hodinkee, it's Hodinkee, and then like it still looks like shit on you. So I'm like, okay, fine, thanks. So this is my issue is it doesn't matter. You buy what looks good on you specifically as well. And then you shouldn't be explaining. If somebody comes up to me and says, well, this is not just any Oris. This is an Oris limited edition for Fratello. And it's limited to 69,000 pieces and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah. So I think then we're coming to the pros basically. One is of course the exclusivity and prestige. Obviously, is one of the things. So he said, okay, it is a sense of rarity. It is a sense of prestige that you get,
but it's
right?
Falsified prestige and falsified rarity.
Maybe, but no, it's not really, because there is a limited availability of it, right? So by that logic, there's limited availability for everything in the world. Technically, yes. Yes. Then you have, again, the potential investment issue, which you just said. Some are actually going up in price because collectors are willing to pay that money for it.
I'm going to argue with that as well. Regular watches are going up in value as well, certain ones, without being limited.
And here we are back again. Sorry, we had a bit of a Labubu. My SD card where we record everything on was full, so we have to re-record part of our discussion, which is, of course, the best part. And now we have to redo it.
So it's literally the same day. So we're just an hour later, but we have no idea what we talked about an hour ago. So bear with us if we make if we repeat ourselves.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we were in such a good debate, and then Ralph just managed to not record any of it.
No, I personally recorded everything in my brain, of course, but that's I can't reproduce it.
Yeah, this is the issue: is how well it flowed.
My impersonation of
so we left off. We were talking about. You mentioned that there's scarcity when it comes to limited editions, and I mentioned that by definition, everything in the world is limited to some extent, right? So. Manufacturing numbers are limited. If you look at Grand Seiko, they make about 35,000 watches a year. That is limited. If you look at Rolex, they make 1 million plus watches a year. That is limited. It depends on what you're comparing it against.
Demand. And this is why this scarcity that I meant is the potential investment value. And of course, that always depends on the demand of what is there for. So you could argue that a watch that is selling for a normal price for 100 pieces could be a really cool investment piece if there would be only 10 pieces available. But you don't know that. It could be, potentially, right? You mentioned Veblen goods earlier when you're saying, well, a Veblen good is
or have I mentioned it yet? We don't know if we mentioned it.
But my point is, a Veblen good is increases in demand the higher the price gets. Yes. Which is insane, but that's how
which is the opposite of regular economics, right? So regular economics, the demand matches the supply, and the price point kind of meets in the middle. Veblen goods does something different, right? Because now these are things that you no longer need, and they're sought after by exclusively people with excess income, and therefore that drives up the price because now you're competing against different individuals in a this kind of stratospheric income level.
Yeah,
and they have more money than sense, and they are happy to throw extra money at something that isn't necessarily there. This takes me back to the original Richard Mille story that we don't know is true or not, right? But when they first started Richard Mille, they put an ad in a newspaper and they said the price was $15,000 or something, and they accidentally added an extra zero. And the actual ad said $150,000, and they got scared. They kind of shit their pants a little bit, saying like, "No one's going to buy this." And then the orders started coming in. So this absurd price was what the story goes.
This is again the Veblen good, right? It's like the demand increases as the price rises, which is contrary to the normal price elasticity, where if you increase the price, demand goes down gradually, right? Yes. So, and eventually it will be reaching zero because it's too expensive for people to buy. Not so with Veblen goods because they signal status and wealth and exclusivity and prestige.
Yes. So okay. Now, but this doesn't really matter when we're talking about
a limited edition.
Your Seiko Turtle limited edition that costs $500, right?
In the right circle.
This is not a Veblen good by any stretch of the mind.
In the right circle, it might give you some clout, but other than that, I don't think so. No, that's true.
So this brings me to my next point: is kind of the idea that every single time. And once again, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, so I apologize if I did. But every single time I've bought a limited edition, I felt that it's supposed to be something special, that it's something that we're going to talk about with who knows who, that they're going to come up and be like, oh, is that the, caliber 400 Oris that there were 400 made of, for Hodinkee or whatever. Another example of this, which I love this watch, but I don't think I could stand stomaching buying it. And it keeps popping up here and there, which is the Black Bay 58 for Hodinkee, which was made for our friends and family. It is literally a bog standard Black Bay 58, black gilt dial, but in white lettering above where I don't even know what's on the bottom of the Black Bay 58, the depth rating, I think. It says or maybe chronometer or something. Above that, it says Hodinkee in white, Hodinkee font. So it's one line, one printed line of text. And then because of this, and nobody knows how many there were, I don't think it's noted or mentioned, but a regular Black Bay 58 can be had for like 8,000 dirhams. This one is selling continually, and I've seen a few pop up for around 50, 60,000 dirhams. And that is a price increase that I don't think I can stomach. But it's cool.
Yeah. It is cool. I mean, this is something where you, which comes to the next pro, you would say, is the storytelling. I'm not so sure if you already mentioned this in the podcast before, but you said to me, if you have to explain it, it's rubbish, right?
Did I say this already? Or I don't know if I did.
I don't know either. So
God bless. This is the worst podcast episode ever.
But the point is, you said your example was the Ford Focus, right? I think you did say that in the podcast before when we recorded this. But on the other hand, this kind of storytelling that you can actually say something about this product is more important. If you can, for example, my Blancpain that was kissed by Jean-Claude Biver. Himself.
Yeah. It's limited, one of one.
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, well, it is
because the only watch kissed by Jean-Claude Biver at Watches and Dubai Watch Week 2023 or whenever it was.
Correct.
So as I said, anything can be limited, and this is just so stupid that people try to make this fake limitations on things. And yes, these companies could have produced more. They chose not to. So it's not like this guy died while he was hammering the last case. And that would be truly limited.
Well, Ferrari said this, right? Do your market research. And if the market research shows that you can sell 400 of a specific car, produce 399.
Is this before or after you made 500 of the 400?
Okay, that was different then.
Yeah, but that was those were spiders and these were coupes and they were different.
No, but that is usually what the Ferrari idea is always to produce a tiny bit less than what the market can take, so that it's always in demand and a bit more demand than the offering, right?
Yeah.
In order which is basically why Rolex is still scarce, even though they produce so many watches, because they still produce just a bit less than just flooding the market.
But here's what I don't like is I was talking to one of the people in our little watch group, and this guy literally just bought everything that was limited for the sake of it being limited, right?
Yeah.
So I had 3 Hodinkee G-Shocks at the time, and I was putting them all up on Timepiece 360 auctions. And he's like, why are you selling these? And I told him that, I'm kind of over them. I don't care anymore. Right. And he said, well, so are you going to get different G-Shocks? And I said, yeah, I'm just going to get the silver metal one, and I'm going to get the rubber stainless steel core one. I said, but those aren't limited. And this is the mindset that really just pisses me off. Who gives a shit if it's limited or not limited or what it is? If I like it, I like it. And once again, I have sold all of my limited edition watches and have gone back to their regular counterparts. And as I said, my SBGM 221 that I have, the Grand Seiko, that one, the designer of Grand Seiko, the one that came after the Grammar of Design one, there was whoever that was, I'm not even going to attempt to say his name, but the guy who invented Grammar of Design, there was once he kind of retired, the next guy came along and he did the 66 GS case, I think, and a few others. And he said his favorite watch of all time was the SBGM 221, the cream dial Grand Seiko, super plain. And they made they had a bunch of limited edition ones. The Hodinkee one I had, the blue dial.
Yeah.
And still, it just didn't sing to me like the traditional one did.
And this, I think it's another pro that we have to mention, is that you get a unique design and feature set with that watch usually. because it's a limited one. They usually take certain materials, movements, commemorative designs, or other things that are.
I don't know.
Yeah, wait. You have the point of saying if it's really, really good, then they will make it a permanent collection.
That's my opinion,
But
right?
And that's true. Because you probably do as a said earlier, it's just like spaghetti on the wall. You see what sticks. It's like market research. You can just see what works, what doesn't work, and then actually build on it. It's like really market research with limited editions. But in this case, it could also be that you have a very specific and peculiar taste, and this limited edition hits exactly your taste, but not the general public's taste. So you find that is
saying.
Orange with red and brown.
Yes.
And I like it. And that's why I'm going to buy it. And I'm happy. And that's a limited edition, but it's just by chance. But that's why it's important for you that you think this is the most amazing limited edition. But your peers might all think like, yeah, and it's very good that it's only a limited edition because
it's ugly, yeah.
You could not sell more than 100 of
there's
these.
been a few Hodinkee watches that have truly come out as ridiculously sought after.
Yes.
If you recall, they made the Tag Heuer. They were the original ones that made the Skipper.
Yeah.
The reissue. The blue dial with the yachting chronograph. And now Tag Heuer themselves, what did they do? They reissued the Skipper in regular production, right? So it does happen, but it happens very rarely, and I don't see why. Is it because most of these limited editions just aren't that good? And that's kind of my feeling is every time I've seen a limited edition, there's been something I'm like, I don't know about it.
Yeah, and I think maybe on purpose, right? I mean, maybe that's because you're trying to find the niche audiences, or maybe it is just, I mean, look, this Hodinkee, for example, there was a time when I thought, well, they can't go wrong, right? They had really a golden touch, golden hand on it. Whatever they came up with, a special edition or limited edition for Hodinkee, it looked tasteful and absolutely just they improved on the design of everything that they had touched. I mean, in general, right? And then there came a time when it was just too many and too
vulgar.
Yeah, too blah. Blah blah. It was just a bit too many of them, and I think it lost a bit of its special touch. But I think in the beginning, and that's why Hodinkee special editions basically sold out so quickly, because they had the track record of doing really nice things.
Yeah, and then
really
afterwards,
good collaborations. Yeah,
once again, they had some ridiculous collaborations. They had the Resins, they had the Vacheron Constantin, they had the I was going to say Frederic Constant, but no, what was his name? The Laurent Ferrier. They had a number of these really, really good watches, and they were extremely tastefully done. And then all of a sudden, it was like, here's a neon blue and yellow swatch. I mean, I guess the swatches are meant to be fun, but they made the Hublot that said not for resale on the dial, which was still to this day, that came out maybe 5 years ago. Still to this day, Joma Shop still has them in stock for like a ridiculous discount, and no one wants them.
Yeah, I think it is. Are these the real ones or the actual not for resale plastic ones?
No. These are titanium one, a real one that is meant to mimic the not for sale plastic ones. Hence the whole not for resale.
Yeah.
Right? But for those of you that don't know, Hublot did offer rental or loaner watches when your watch was in service.
Yep.
They were little plastic crap quartz watches, and it said Hublot on it, and it said not for sale on the dial, and that was it, which I thought was super cool. And they do pop up on eBay now and then, and they're cheap. They're for 2,000 dirhams you can get one of these, and I feel like that's a pretty cool bit of history.
It is, and I think it was, how did they come to this? Because they basically had some customers coming in with their Hublot watch for repair or servicing, and basically tell them, so what am I, when they said, okay, service time is, let's say, turnaround time, 2 months or something, right? couple of weeks when they said, like, what am I going to do? I don't have a watch, right? And you said, like, well, buy a new one. But they said, no, I don't want to buy so much. I mean, I don't want to spend $10,000 for a new one. Can't you give me one for the time? And basically, that's when Hublot had this idea and said, yeah, we should do that. We should give them just a loaner watch, like a loaner car when you have your car in service, depending on what kind of nice service.
But Bamford did the same thing. That's how the Bamford G-Shocks were born.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to look for one, not for resale, but I don't know how I find this.
I've seen them on Chrono here and there, but they exist for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're off topic now. That is a limited watch. That is hard to get. But once again, it was not actually limited. And this brings me back to the thing. I don't like this idea of you're telling me how many numbers. I like it when the market figures out that something is rare. For instance, I used to have the sub date. And when I first started getting into watches, because I guess that's what you were supposed to have. And then I ended up selling my sub date and going to the sub no date. And okay, fine. I had the sub no date for many years, but it wasn't until the book that the Nick Folks released that book that we found out that the sub no date, the first generation ceramic one, was the rarest mainstream production sub that kind of ever came. So once again, you saw that this was, I think there was 100,000 of them, made over the almost 10-year production run, which is like 10,000 a year, which is pretty damn limited.
For a watch that has such a,
for a company that makes a million watches a year.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. If you have the story about it, right? And again, this is when this watch was not particularly interesting for you, but now that you know this, you have a story to tell. And that's, I think, the emotional connection that you sometimes have with these limited editions, because they might have a unique piece of moon dust on it, or a unique special manufacturer, like the moon swatches with their moonshine gold secondhand.
Oh yeah, you get a secondhand that's plated in 2 cents worth of gold,
if at all. But and these are the things where you think, well, maybe that kind of storytelling is interesting, because as that the people are more satisfied with their products if they had a quick and unbureaucratic customer support incident. So you make happier customers when they have an issue with a product, and you help them quickly and unbureaucratically, and you make them basically happier customers than people who never had a problem in the first place. You see this with cars. If you have an issue with your car and the manufacturer says, don't worry, we come tomorrow with a flatbed, we take the car, we bring you a replacement car, and blah, 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 and after repairing it, we bring it back fully fueled, washed, cleaned, and so on. And you think like, wow, this is amazing. You have a story to tell of how great the customer service was, right? And you're happier with your car because you feel like you are in good hands.
We might have already talked about this, so we don't know.
Maybe not. But that is why I think this storytelling, because we humans are just, we just like stories, and we can remember stories much better than a spec sheet. So these kind of stories just work, and you can tell a story now that you know that your watch is rarer than any other in the history of submariners.
Yeah, but I feel like this is not a story. This is the spec sheet part of it. You're saying, well, there's only 50 of these. That's a spec sheet. That's not a story.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, ma'am, yeah, you're right. It's not really a story.
Because that's when somebody buys a limited edition, they're not going into the history of, I bought this from Hodinkee, and Hodinkee is this magazine that started eventually, or online, a website that started, talking about watches and blah, 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 and going into the history of Hodinkee and who they are. They say, only 50 were made. And that's stupid at the end of the day.
Yeah, but
you ask them why they like it. Is it the color? No, it's because it's limited.
Yeah, I mean, sure. But then you have, watches with whatever special pieces of old MiG 21 fighter planes in it or whatever it might be, right?
But those are limited simply because you don't have any more of the parts. And I think that's fine. I think once again, there's no need to say it's limited to 20 pieces. I mean, you can. There's no need to print it everywhere, right? And this is one of the things that I often see is it's a one of one, but like nobody wanted it to begin with. It doesn't make it better if you put one of one on the back of it. If it's a shitter, it's going to be a shitter. I saw this.
But what do you think about these watches that are unique just because they are the production process makes every watch dial slightly unique, like meteor dials?
Yeah, like the forged carbon that we saw with the Unimatics. I think that's super cool because then it technically is a one of one. You're not going to have one that's similar to somebody else's.
With the same pattern also,
Yeah, that's super cool. And I think, once again, this is why I like scratches so much probably because when you beat up your watch, it will be a one of one. It's your watch now, right? The more you wear it, the more it's going to personalize, the more you change your straps, et cetera, right? So I'm definitely in the camp of wear your watches, make them unique, make them your own, as opposed to going and buying something that says limited edition just because it's a limited. Most people, they go after this FOMO, the fear of missing out. There is no real intelligence behind why they choose. I know a lot of people that simply buy whatever is released just because it's limited. And then they are like, we will resell it later, or we might keep it, or who knows, but I have to buy it because it's limited. And
if the hype,
not the right motivation.
If the hype train goes to town, which it always does, and in our current times even more, as we have discussed with the Labubus,
not discussed with the Labubus because we don't know.
We don't know what we said. But this is the thing. We are just these social creatures that think like, okay, this is now great. Everybody wants it, so I want it too. I don't want to be left out. I want to be part of whatever that Labubu gang is that has the rarest Labubu. Maybe you need to show it off in your social circle. I don't know a single person. I have never seen a single person in my
this is a great question. This gets me to your another point. Look at our cars, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have a Focus ST group somewhere on my WhatsApp here, which is the majority of the ST owners in UAE. I'm curious about the number of STs that were sold in UAE. Here it is. How many people? We have 43 members. Okay. This is in UAE wide.
Yeah.
That gives you an idea of how many people bought STs, right? How often do you see them on the road? Not very often. I would guess if I had to put, gun to my head, there's 10 in the lane. And in Dubai, maybe 100.
I don't know. It was quite popular for a while, right? I mean, I think it sold more, but I think also people just, it exported it and
at the time you needed a manual license to buy one, which most people didn't have as well.
Yeah.
So that was another issue. But now we don't have manual licenses, but at the time you did. But that car is significantly rarer than probably 90% of the cars on the road.
True.
Does that make it worth more? No, it does not. And that's my point.
And your Volkswagen Touareg is one of 10 being sold in Dubai. I mean, there's probably a few more sold in the UAE, but it was a car that was when everything went V6. I had a V8, which was a very special car made only for the Russian, Brazilian, and Middle Eastern markets. And it was super exclusive. It was the one after I think it was when the Phaeton got discontinued, they made this with air suspension and whatever, all of the extras in it. It's the exclusive edition. So I was told by Volkswagen, only 10 of them were sold in the UAE. Does that make my car any more expensive? Nope.
No.
Thankfully,
but it makes it rare. It's limited.
But thankfully, it doesn't make the parts so much more limited. It makes it a bit more limited, but they are now, I so for example, my brakes, I have to buy the brake discs from Audi or Porsche because it's the bigger ones, not the normal ones, because it's a more powerful engine inside. And all of this, yeah. But yes, it does not, it made
and
it in the beginning.
This is what we need to understand within watches, and I don't think people get this. You should not hunt these limited editions and pay more for them unless you like it, because
Correct.
90% of the time they are going to be worth the exact same as the regular edition and no one's going to care. When I sold,
or as you said, even less
if it's a less
maybe
popular,
they're a bit ugly, right? Or the
exactly.
trend that was once cool.
I will give you an example of this.
Yeah.
So I had recently sold all of my Hodinkee limited editions I sold. The Hodinkee limited, this was the European exclusive SBG W277, 279, 279. That one, or whatever it was, the Europe edition sold for less than the regular SBG W231 it was based on, because I guess it was niche. On the other hand, I had the Hamilton Khaki Hodinkee edition, limited, one of 1,000, I think it was, which is somewhat limited. And that one sold for 50% more than a regular Hamilton Khaki that it was based on. So once again, here's both sides of the coin. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why or how, but I do know that when something is cheaper, we stomach it a lot better. We like the idea of it being limited when it's cheaper. We will, because, if you're talking 1,000 dirhams, who cares? Might as well get the limited one. But when you're talking 10,000, 20,000 dirhams, you want a watch you truly like everything about. And then you're going to start thinking, well, I much prefer the regular one as opposed to the limited one. So I'd rather just wait and buy a regular one.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, it really, you're right. If it is really something that you like, I mean, as I mentioned, if this limited edition suddenly just strikes your specific chord, where you actually like something like, oh, that's the Submariner I wanted. I wanted a Submariner with an orange text on the dial and a green hand or something. And you find this in a limited edition. Okay, Rolex is a bad example. But then, by all means, it's great. Because then you found the watch that's more particular, your niche, and you like it.
Yeah.
But in general, limited editions in the watch world have, a bad taste, I think, in certain areas. In some areas, they have a very good reputation. It is completely weird. It really depends on the brands, on the models, Some special limited editions you can't give away because people just don't care. They don't buy them. So maybe it's...
Can we bring in your Okavango Delta, whatever?
Oris.
No, the what's it called? The one you're wearing right now with your
this
purple strap or whatever. Yeah.
Hakuna.
The Hakuna Matata.
Mipaka. Because yes. Hakuna Matata is of course what it,
From The Lion King.
Yes. It's from Kiswahili.
Nonetheless, this is a very, 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 very niche watch.
Yes.
Put onto that a blue or purple or whatever black color velour strap.
It is, a velour strap with a leopard paw prints on it. But it really looks cool. I mean, of course, now I don't have it on the strap because it's very delicate. So it's actually not so delicate. It's velour. But I decided to wear it on a brown leather strap because it's cooler. But this dial as well has this prints on them, which you can sometimes see. And of course, the logo of the Hakuna Mipaka Animal Sanctuary, where Dean Schneider is just, giving... animals a sanctuary. It's not a visitable sanctuary. It's really just for the animals to have. So,
Oris also raises money for a lot of causes. That's another different type of limited edition that we didn't really mention.
For me, I seem to be a sucker for that. Especially had some correlation to Africa because I, go to Africa once a year, and I really love to have something which is somehow special to that or
to you specifically,
there.
right?
To me, yes.
And once again, you fit the niche.
was one of them. And if you bought this watch, I think you got even, this is the Okavango Rescue Organization. It's a private entity that provides rescue services in the Okavango Delta for people in need. And if you are a member, you are being rescued basically for free. And if you're not a member, you have to pay a much higher charge if you're being rescued by them, or your health insurance has to pay that. So it's like a doctor's on planes, right? When the rescue service there. And this was the special edition Oris, Okavango Delta version, which I also liked, because if I wanted to have an Oris, then I wanted to have an Oris that has a bit
That
more...
was Wings for Hope, not Okavango Delta.
No.
I think it was Wings for Home.
No, the Oris Okavango Delta was that. It was the Okavango Delta Air Rescue. It was called
Wings of Hope.
Air Rescue Limited Edition. No, I'm talking about the
Then
Okavango.
What is Wings of Hope?
I'm talking about the Oris.
I am too. A different Oris.
Okavango Air Rescue Limited Edition.
Okay.
I can share the screen with you then.
Oh, here it is. Wings of Hope Humanitarian Aviation Organization.
Yeah, not
This
the one.
is in the U.S.
Yeah, see, I'm talking about the Okavango one.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Anyhow, so my point is this model is sold out, but you can still find it pre-owned. And it's not more expensive. It's actually, it's the same price as an usual, I think. What is it? 41 millimeter.
Yeah. They usually
big
are.
crown profiler.
I think I don't see many of them being significantly higher priced than their original models.
But why I liked it, first of all, because of the name Okavango Delta, because of the design, because it had a green dial which had the grass structure, so it looked like the Okavango Delta when it's not dry season. It just looked very nice. Had a fume dial there. I mean, it was. I personally loved it. So I never bought it. I was very close, but I never did. So.
And 90% of the time when we have these limited editions, we talk about how we didn't buy it, by the way. I just want to point that out.
But we were
on this
lusting over them.
bombshell,
Yes.
I think it's time for us to wrap up. Next week,
right.
We'll see you from Dubai Watch Week.
Yes, we will see how many and how often we will update you, but we will.
Yes, eventually.
Adios, amigos.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.